Hi Gemini, happy November. I hope you're doing well. Okay, you guys have some messages and they go exactly what I think is going on here with the cards. So I want to say this. You've got to let go of something. Better said, someone, I think, right? I think that this may be a relationship that is no longer, and I think that you might not be able to move on from it, okay? You're being reminded of the law of, what is it? Let something go. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it's not. You're also being reminded to go with the flow. And they're saying here that if you do that, if you just go with the flow on this particular thing, that you will be able to navigate anything. You'll get through things that would have bound you up or would have put you in a detour. Or they're basically saying that when you go with the natural order of things and when you go with the flow of things, other doors open up. Things go on, right? It's really about looking at, I don't think you have an honest assessment of how you're viewing something. They're really asking you to go within and really look at what it is that you're hanging on to and how things really were. There's something too about repetitive patterns. Like I think you're doing the same thing over and over, and you're expecting to get a different outcome or a response or something. Repetitive behaviors. I think too what's happening is you're not home. You're not home. You're so far in the past and so far in the future that you're not able to get the okay. 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 What it's doing, I'm sorry, I got more. You're trying to okay. This is a relationship. This is a relationship. When you're trying to I'm sorry, it's coming in a different okay. There's a lesson in this. There's a lesson that you're supposed to be getting, and you're not going to get it if you're not home to get it. You're so far, and I'm sorry, I'm not yelling. These things, they're coming through in like they're little clusters. So you're 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 looking at how things were in the past, and you're trying to figure out how things are in the future. But what's holding up both of that? Not that we can repeat the past, but we learn from it when we're home to see what it is. There's something in this that you're not looking at or that you're overlooking because you're not there. There's a lesson in this. When relationships go awry or there's separations or something, there's also those things sometimes happen because you need to learn something in this moment by yourself. And what happens a lot of times is we don't do that. And then the relationship will either come back together or go apart. If it comes back together, it usually repeats the same patterns. If you don't get what you were supposed to get during that time out, or you get stuck in the past with regret over things because you didn't take that time that you needed to yourself to really see things, to take the rose-colored glasses off. either way, we can't see what we're supposed to get if we're in different spots, is where I think they're going with that. And I think that that's what I was trying to put together, is why things are all scattered like that. Yes, so those are your messages. Obsessive thinking, obsessive thinking, obsessive behaviors. You need to stop doubting your inner voice, but I don't think you even hear it. I don't think you hear it, because I'm very confused. I have this feeling of I really have this feeling of being pulled all over the place. And I think that that's what you're doing. You're running all over the place, be it internal or external. You're running around like a lunatic, right? So to speak. We all do that sometimes when we can't find our footing. We're trying to hang on to anything that we can, right? All right. And the cards really kind of, they fall in alignment with that too. We come in with the energy of, okay. We come in with the energy of the Queen of Swords. Okay. Underneath her is the Knight of Swords. And underneath that is the Judgment card. Oh, wow. And the Temperance card. But look, here comes inner peace. When you take a minute for yourself. Okay? And then we have some balance here. Wow. And this gets you to a new place. This is moving on from this up here. It's telling ourselves a different story, right? It's going to, and there you go. Okay. This card, guys, holy cow. This card it's a heavy load, yeah, but what happens in a relationship is after the hard times, this goes forward. And this is what you've got. Stability back on the home front. Okay? These are all energy cards, and I'm telling you, I could do this whole story just from these energy cards. I normally don't dig that deep, but the story is telling itself out. Okay, so I know I'm on point here. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Swords here as your energy. We'll just leave it at her. But all of those cards, go back and watch this again. It's like one of those things that you flip through, like those, you know, the little, when you're flipping through a book, you can see the little things play out. That's exactly what that was. I never get that. Okay. So this will come around if you do what you're supposed to do. Okay. And by that, I mean your message is coming in, because those have to trump no matter what I find in the cards. The cards help me figure out where those messages go, but the message is the message, okay? And you're the one that can lay this out perfectly for yourself, okay? Now, we come in with the Page of Cups and the Knight of Wands. Oh, Maron. Okay. We have new energy here. The Page of Cups, right? That's young, green, right? New at this, naive. I think that is, it's someone who's not easily forgotten, very charismatic. He, like I say, I use him as my Johnny card at the end of the street with the big brown eyes and the Camaro, right? Our parents teach us about all these things to be on the lookout for, but they don't tell us about Johnny with the big brown eyes that you just can't. You know it's bad, right? You can smell the leather jacket 5 miles away, but you're doing it anyway, right? I get it, I assure you. But that's yeah, that's what happened here. Okay. Hang on. All right. In the past, we've got the King of Swords. We come in with the Queen, okay? Okay. One of you has very rigid thinking. Something is rigid. I didn't catch the last. These are both very stuck in their way people. Anyway, they're usually, well, they can go in many different ways. You all, if this is the couple here, and this is what it really looks like, right? This is what I'm getting from the feeling. But these are the most likely the people in the story here. You've got to, if you keep going for a typical type of person, maybe that's where they were going, you're going to keep ending up here. This person will charm the pants off anybody. And I don't mean that like in a, I mean, he's a charmer. He'll charm the hair off your head. Let's put it that way, right? It's just someone who they're very smooth. They're very charismatic. They're the, like a narcissistic kind of Mr. Big, right? Because we all love him. He's not like this, but it's like that's, I wanted to give you a visual. And for men, it would be like, oh boy, like Raquel Welch, right? Like, just cut me some slack here. Just pick like the most aesthetically pleasing person you could find. That's what it would be like, right? But what's happening here is where you're anchored is the 9. It's like you're not, it's like you're stuck there. This is a card of stamina, but there's a difference between knowing when to walk away and knowing when you've quit, right? There's a difference. There's a difference between knowing when enough is enough, right? That's where I'm going with that, I guess. A 9 is the end though, right? And it's where you're anchored. A 9 is the end. A 10, no matter what happens here, which we did get the 10. We did get the 10. If you want this relationship to come back around, you're going to have to do what your guides say. Okay? The 10 of Swords is in here. There's distance here for sure. I don't feel this is over. If you want this to come back around, I think it's an option for sure. There's free will in here, but we have quite a lineup here. And this 10 is a lot, but you've got both of them in here. The 10 in a relationship read means it comes back around. It gets better after this crap storm, right? So that's what it means in a relationship read, if that's what this is to you, okay? Which I'm pretty sure it is. I would bet the ranch that it is. Now, the problem here, where I'm not quite concerned what happened is, someone may be have a history of infidelity. Like they may just do something like that repeatedly. That may be what the issue is, right? Or this is, you know, what there's different, I think you're looking at something incorrectly, and I will tell you why, all right? That could be the case, though. It could be the case where someone has a history of that. It could be, right? Because where you're crowned here is with the Queen of Coins. So this could be a different person, right? And you are coming in with the upcoming energy. What's coming up for you is the 3. This in here, yes, it's heartbreak, but this is done, okay? The what's coming up though is where you're really needing to look at, and what your guys are saying is you need to stop doing this. you're either doing this, it's either a repeated pattern, you get in relationships maybe, or someone that you got involved with has a history of getting in relationships and then just doing things to sabotage them, right? They could be my really in a relationship, we go through certain times, it's the weirdest thing, where I'll get a cluster of readings for this person just took off. Like they just took off. Everything was fine and then they just took off, right? Like we go through that's why I'm going they're patterns here. People have patterns, but if we don't know what they are, and if we inevitably know that Johnny with the big eyes is going to hurt us, you know, but we're willing to just do it for now, right? Be okay with it for now. This inevitably is going to keep turning into this, right? That's your bad boy. This is young, meaning not young in age, I mean in love with love, right? That's what it is. And here comes Johnny Brown Eyes, and you're going to end up here again, right? That may be the type that you may go for, right? That's a learning process too. We all go through those when we realize after a certain amount of time, though, we're like, we don't care how charming someone is or how attractive they are. We're like, whoa, been here before, I'm not going back, right? And I think that with your messages coming in, it's leading me to believe that this was an established relationship, that someone just did something, and there is a great divide right now, but you're not able to get over it. You're not either able to get over the person or you're not able to get over what they did, right? When something like this comes up in a relationship, what's the first thing we do? Why wasn't I good enough? What did I do? What makes you think it even has to do with you? When people do things like that, if I'm just going to get this out of the way here. When people do things like that, right? They're not doing it to us, even though we're taking a massive hit because we're on the receiving end, you know, and we cared about this person. It really has nothing to do with us. It's something within that person, right? So it has nothing to do with us. They didn't even disrespect us. They disrespected themselves, right? So however that plays out for you, you need to know that because it's holding you up. And I think you just keep going for the wrong type of person that keeps doing something like this, okay? Or you're whatever side of the coin you're on. So again, this is heartbreak, but it's because you're either inflicting it upon yourself by your actions or you're going for the wrong type of person over and over and over again, okay? Now, how you see the situation is exactly what your messages are. This is the Six of Cups. It's not able to get over something from the past, or it's looking in the past. But this card, when it shows up, it really, in this type of read, it really asks you to take the blinders off and really remember how things were. Because things in hindsight always look better, but this is telling you to really take an honest look at how things were. They were not as wonderful as you're making them out to be. And a lot of times, it's not even the relationship that we can't get over. It's that someone betrayed us with someone else, which automatically wide opens that every time something didn't work out and it hits us where we're taking a hit where we're worthless, we're not good enough, right? That's where this comes in, okay? And that's what I think may have happened here. Because you know what, in all honesty, we've got now another queen in here. She's sitting at the pile of your story here from the energy. This story just keeps playing itself out. All right. Now, in your environment. It just keeps getting better, and I apologize, Gemini. This is the Lover card, right? It's about, in here, making choices that are good for you, right? There really isn't much more to elaborate on that. Now, in your environment, your hopes and fears, right? This again is a spot where it's highly under touched on, right? It's not elaborated on as much as it should be. When someone says, "Oh, this is your emotions," right? It's more than that because it's It's someone says to me on the surface this, right? I'm waiting. But underneath, something else could be going on, right? Like, oh, I want to get married. And underneath I can tell, oh, by the surrounding cards, no, you don't. You want to stay single. That's just the example. In here, it's active waiting, right? You can only sit here though for so long. Then you've got to start doing something. It's not like the 7 of coins, which ironically is right here, Gemini. Holy moly. Okay. This is too weird. Okay. With that 7 of coins, there's divine timing in this. Your messages are telling you you need to fix something here to go on from it, be it a relationship comes back together or whether it dissipates, one of the two. But you're being asked to really, you're really just, I can feel now someone being shaken, like literally being, the universe is trying to shake you awake here. Okay. Now the outcome card is the Hermit. Hallelujah. Take this time for yourself. This is also a card of letting something go, right? Actually, what it does, where is that 4 of Swords? Bear with me. I'm going to show you something. Okay. This is what happens when you do this. This light here, the star, your true north, who you really are, is what's inside that lantern, right? These two, these cards in here for you, what they're asking you to do is to really get in here and figure out why you do what you do and why you, they're cards of transmutation. This is you ferrying your soul here to the River Sphinx, to get in there, to the River Styx, I'm sorry, to get in there and really look at, where do these things come from? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I let people do this to me? Why do I settle for this, right? I'm sorry, Gemini. We've all been here, and it's a shit fest. It really is. But that's what you're being asked to do. You've got this on the outbound. I'd strongly suggest that somehow you try to do this. I know it's easier said than done. I get it. Okay? But we dug really deep here with these clusters of cards. Okay? So if we want to pull this into the equation, which I will, this will go one of two ways. And you know what? The power will be yours. The power will be yours. I think in this, you're giving the power away to someone who really doesn't deserve it. I mean, no one deserves our power, but you're giving credit to someone who's not worth it. You know what I mean? You need to get in there and figure out why it is that you're doing that. Like I say, if there's a third person involved in here, that's the worst, right? Because not only do we, it's like what we think we knew, now we know, right? And now we're glamorizing this other person because yes, they're so much better than us. They took our partner, or however you want to word that, right? You got to look at it this way. If you've got one person who's willing to take someone that's already someone else's, and you've got a cuckoo bird on your side out there looking for something while they've already got something, let them have each other. They deserve it, right? That's where I think this is. You need to see that, though. Me telling you this isn't, you're probably in tears by now, and I apologize for that, but we all go through these things. And the good thing is, though, that once we get it, we don't ever repeat it. I don't care if Mr. Big himself walked down the street, or men, the prettiest woman, whatever. There's just a certain point in life where you just say, nope, I'm gonna pass, and you need to get there, and it's a process. And sometimes you need to circle that mountain as many times as you need to, but that's what this is. So I apologize for that. Yeah. If you need a private reading, I'd be more than happy to look at this for you. Okay. If there's things, right, it's easy for me to say, do this, don't do this, look at these. It's easy for me to give you your messages, but if you don't know really why you do this, we can dig under there, right? I can see where this is and we can work through that. Okay, so there you go. I hope that I helped you in some way. Happy November. Look at your other signs if this did not pertain to you, because the odds are not, although it's crazy energy. Um, Look at your other signs though, if you choose. I would strongly advise it. Okay, so there you go. Thank you so much. Happy November.